Hello. Hi there. Welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series. The Guiding Voice for a better future. This podcast is to help professional students, IT employees, and entrepreneurs to shape their careers. Dear listeners, in every episode, we interact with industry experts or academicians or coaches across the globe to drive some insightful conversations that will help our audience learn great things. Also, we share an interesting trivia or a fun fact about IT world or technology in general towards the end. Thank you for tuning in. This is Naveen and I'm with my co-host Sudhakar. So folks, financial services are a broad range of businesses that manage money, including credit unions, banks, credit card companies, insurance companies, accountancy companies, consumer finance companies, stock brokerages, investment funds, individual managers, and some government-sponsored enterprises. So today we are going to discuss this important industry, which is about financial services. And we are pleased to welcome Sridhar to our show.
Sridhar Kapa is into technology architecture leadership with proven results in casting and executing technology strategy for payments, commercial lending, and core banking business verticals. In the last 20 years, Sridhar gained expertise in leading emerging technology architecture teams and demonstrated thought leadership in various transformation architectures as well as core foundation capabilities in the banking domain. Sridhar, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Sudhakar. Thank you, Naveen.
So, Sridhar, let us talk about your career journey and major milestones that helped you in becoming what you are today.
Sure, Sudhakar. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is a great opportunity where I can share my views, and maybe let me take the career milestones step by step, means what I had achieved till date and what is the experience that I gained in my overall milestones. As Sudhakar highlighted, I have been in this industry for past 20 years, means completely in the banking domain, and means both on the services side of the world as well as now as a banker with a large UK setup, means, and also at the same time, means during this course of journey, there are a lot of milestones that I was able to achieve through my experience. Maybe few of them I'll try to highlight in this discussion considering the timelines that we have in place. The first and foremost, the interesting aspect about my career track is like very different. So I started as an engineer, then went to IIT Kharagpur for my masters, but you will be surprised to see my background. I did my graduation as well as the masters in chemical engineering and moved to computers and basically mastered myself in the computers in the past 20 years. So that's one of my key career milestones. Okay, what does it signify? Yeah, we'll come to that little later. But definitely this is one milestone that you can think how you can shape up your career as well, through these views. The second interesting career milestone that I wanted to highlight is when I started my IT career, or even when I was doing research as part of my graduation as well as the post-graduation, I was heavily dependent on a green screen or a mainframe based technology stack. Even during my graduation, IIT Kharagpur, it's completely dominated by German engineering designs, and the monitors and the systems is completely on the German engineering, primarily on the mainframe technologies. So any process automation that we need to do, we need to know COBOL and we need to start coding in COBOL. From there, seeing completely green screen to what is completely in the IT now is also a career milestone that I would call out. Every 2 years, I used to upgrade myself on the technology stack, which helped me to gain a complete understanding on how the IT infrastructure work, the IT systems work, and even master myself on how to apply them into the real world systems, especially in the banking domain. That's the second one I would call out, more mainframes to everything in IT now. The third and very interesting, I'm very proud of even today, is one of the programs that I had implemented for one large US bank, that complete payment transformation, as Sudhakar was highlighting about my career experience. This is more on the payments transformation. We pushed into production, completely architected, completely designed in India by me and my team, where we were able to achieve on the first day of the leap into production, a 400 transactions per second. I mean to say, in a single second, we were able to process 400 payment transactions. That's the system that I pushed in, and that's where the confidence towards how to master the architecture, how to enable myself on building applications has increased. So there are many more, but still I would like to call out these are the critical milestones that shaped my career and positioned myself in the industry strongly as I am today.
Wow, chemical engineer to a banker mainframe, full green screen to current latest and greatest cutting technologies.
Right.
So Sridhar, you were consulting for many banks for a long time. And now, you are the consumer of such services from many consultants. So how does it feel to be on the other side of the table?
Sudhakar, this is a very interesting question, and I'm sure a person in this industry for many years, definitely above 15 years, will experience this kind of a journey. Okay. Yes, my journey is also in the similar lines. I was with more of a services side of the segment, where it's more inclined to what client asks, especially when I was associated with some banks. There was an ask on how to deliver this particular service, and I was equipped to do the service delivery activities. Now, in the last year or so, I transformed myself to become a banker itself. So where I was employed directly with a banker, the view is very different. As a banker, what are the key things that needs to be enabled? How the system should be available? Is the customer a king? Is still an option that we need to think? Or is it more resiliency factor that needs to be considered? So these are the things that runs in when we are into the services world versus we are directly with the bank as an intense as such, right? So what I mean to say here, the difference on activities that are coming in, when it comes to the services side, you are always given an opportunity to innovate and given an opportunity to bring in the best in the industry to a specific client or maybe a bank itself, and you will be able to capture the technology trends on the journey itself. So that's the advantage that you get when you are on the services side. But yeah, on the other side, when you are becoming a banker, when you are part of the bank itself, the perspective is very different. The perspective will be like, how to manage the systems to keep them completely available, how to ensure there is not even a single red mark on the system uptime, system running, and customer experience as such. So the engineering aspects will get more importance when it comes to become a banker. This is when compared to when you are part of the services segment as such. When I say this difference exists, and there is a lot of interesting aspect that needs to come in. Both the services side as well as on the engineering side should coexist in any setup. Why is it so? The first and foremost, innovation should continue, because the way the world is progressing on the technology advancement, innovation is the key, which can be brought in primarily by the services segments. Whereas when you see a customer as a king, you need to ensure the systems are running as is. There is absolutely no disruption. So it has to coexist in all forums as such. Does it answer your question, Sudhakar?
Absolutely, it does. And that is the overall perspective that you need to get from both sides of the table to have better appreciation of overall business.
That's exactly right, Sudhakar. Yeah.
And Sridhar, you have an impressive background and strong foundation in this industry. So I would like you to talk about what are the current trends in the financial industry. We often come across this buzzword cryptocurrency / Bitcoin and contactless transactions and so on. So what's your take?
Yes. Now, this is again a very interesting view, right? Means how everyone perceives the financial services as an industry segment. Okay. Let me take a little bit a step back and give more insights about what is financial services industry. What is this composed of? Maybe at a broader spectrum, so that it will help everyone to understand how diverse this particular industry segment is. Maybe, I will take through as a customer journey viewpoint. Here, as a financial services industry, it's primarily categorized into three major sections, okay, or three major divisions as such. The first and foremost is the banking. As everyone knows, means what is a bank? So that is the primary segment that we always see it. The second important segment is more on the insurance sector. So where anyone looks for insurance related activities, that is the industry segment that gives in within the financial services world. The third and most interesting aspect is the capital markets. What does it mean? Anything that you trade, anything that you invest in a stock market or through a group of companies which does the investment management activities is actually falling under the capital markets. So again, I'll repeat. It's the banking, insurance, and capital markets. These are the major three segments that you always see in the financial services world. How they are interlinked? If I give a little bit broader spectrum on this, banking focuses on many aspects. Anything a customer needs from a money or to a investment activities, the bank is the one go-to solution that we always have. But there are some specialists that are coming in the market and niche players that are coming in the market who are interested to service the customers primarily on one segment called insurance. That's where there are Means companies like maybe the ICICI Lombard Insurance or maybe the Bharati AXA. If you take the Indian scenarios, right, these are the insurance companies which provide services related to insurance related activities. In a similar way, means everyone might have heard about the buzzword towards the stock exchange, means and Sensex going up, or there are stocks that you can buy in the market, or there are mutual funds that you can go and invest. There are commodities that you can go and invest. So you might get all these buzzwords. All these are categorized under capital markets. So there are companies, generally they are called as investment banking companies, which does their specialization on this particular way of doing customer service and also help the market regulators. I'll not throw a lot of buzzwords there, but it helps the market to regulate by itself in enabling the investment activities for the customers to do. When I think about the financial services, these are the three categories that will come into picture. Now, when I come back to your question on contactless transactions, what is the industry trend that is going in? So now, I'll again take a step back with these three segments that are there in place. There is a need on the fintech revolution that needs to be taken care of. What does it mean? There are some advancements, there are some innovations that are going. As you see, the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrencies that are there in the market, right? How these kind of external products can get aligned within the financial services industry as such. How banks as such can enable themselves to be aligned towards cryptocurrency services, or maybe the contactless payment transactions, or can they provide an app for a customer so that they need not visit the bank branch, or they need not visit the insurance agents but manage everything through the mobile, or can they make the investments by just clicking a button on their phone? So these are the fintech or maybe more of a technology revolution that is coming in, or the customer expectation that is coming in, which is making these banks or insurance companies or the capital markets companies to trim themselves and innovate as much as possible there. Now I'll take one more extended view of how this is actually transforming the customer journey itself. When I say customer journey, how customer takes these products and enables themselves to ensure their services are being met. Most of the industries at this point in time, they will have a future view. So now, if you talk about how the banking is going to go, or how the insurance is going to go, or capital markets industry is going to go in the next 10 years or in the past 10 years, how they can enable the technology to ensure their processes are becoming seamless, how they can ensure with the simplistic solutions that they can give to the customers, which is more of enabling the customer to do a contactless payments, or go into a shop or go into Amazon website and do your banking transaction, and also you buy a product. What I mean is, you can check your balance by just logging into Amazon website, or also you can even buy a product, whatever the product that you want to buy. Maybe you want to buy a pair of shoes, you can buy it through Amazon website itself, but also at the same time there is a continuous linkage of this product with the banking services as such, or maybe the insurance services, or even mutual fund services, or even capital markets related services. So gelling all these things is what you see the transformation that is going to come in the financial services world, where the journey is going to be very different as we move on. Does it answer, Naveen?
Absolutely. I think it was very elaborate and quite comprehensive answer, and it gave a lot of perspectives, and very, very curious to know and imagine how the future is going to look like.
Yes.
And especially when you mentioned about checking the bank balance as well as making the payment at the same time. But if you look at the banking that used to happen in olden days, I still remember during my school days when if I were to deposit cash, it took at least 2 to 3 hours standing in the queue and all. But now everything is happening at the fingertips, and
yes,
thanks to the technology. And now that we spoke a little bit about the transformation, and since we are in the transformation era where change is happening at a rapid pace compared to the overall history in existence, and everybody is talking about digital transformation, and we have this smack like social, mobile, analytics, cloud, and AI, machine learning, and artificial neural networks, so on and so forth. So how did this technology influence the financial sectors in the last couple of decades?
So when we talk about the transformation, right? This is one of the most interesting topic as well. And to me, this has been part of my journey. In the last 2 decades and the decades to come till I'm in the industry, there is definitely a transformation is the one which is going to enable the banking or the financial services industry to move forward. Okay, maybe let me take a step-by-step approach. What is that we are going to see in the next decade? Or what is that has happened in the last 2 decades? I'll take the digital transformation itself, right? The last 2 decades the trend was very different, right? We used to go to the bank and do the transaction at the bank, where we always see some kind of a blue-green screen. Again, I'm talking about the mainframe, or maybe like mainframes, legacy technology-based solutions that used to exist. I'm talking about 2001, 2002. If you go to any bank in India or anywhere in the world, it is always a blue-green screen. right? Or maybe a black screen that you will see where the teller used to enter their details, and you might see the transaction details coming up on the screen, and they will start explaining to you what is that activity that is going on in the background. Now that trend has completely changed in the last 2 decades itself, from green screen to more of a web enablement. From web enablement, it has become more of a, you can do everything on your phone, right? How the systems are getting interlinked, and at the same time there is absolutely no disruption on how the transaction volume is being taken care. As we know, the economy expands for any country, and as such, the banking or maybe any financial services industry is the first hit because of the economic expansion, right? So there is an increase in the transactions, there is an increase in the way the customer interacts with the bank or maybe any financial services industry, when there has been overwhelming response from the technology to enable it from green screen to what we see as an app-based enablement. That's the biggest transformation that I would say, like the fastest and more rapid transformation that has happened in the last 2 decades. Not just in the banking, any financial services industry that you take. Now, what is there in the future? Means what is lying in the future? In the next decade that we take, right? As we know, economy expands and the transactions expand. There is a risk of, I would call it as more of a cyber risk, or the financial crimes is going to expand very largely. There is a lot of hackers that might come into the system, means who will try to trace the transactions and try to funnel out the money on any of the customer interaction points. There is a need to completely take care of these kind of vulnerable activities. That is where the focus for the next decade is going to be, meaning heavily on the cyber security, heavily on financial crimes and management. The next foremost, means as you had highlighted, SMAC, which is more about social, mobile, analytics and cloud, is the one which is going to drive the entire business itself. What has happened till date? It is more of an experimentation in the financial services world. How things had gone around, it is more, means I'm going to do an AI solution to see like how my transactions are happening, means how the customer interfaces are being taken into account and how my balance can be viewed in a different perspectives. But it is more an experimentation activities, right? Means till date. Now, with the availability of a technology and with the people, the next gen population is completely on the social or a mobile based activities, there is a need to have more of an integrated services. A legacy bank, a brick and mortar setup, the banks will run, or maybe the insurance companies or the capital markets, the stock exchanges will run as is. But on top of it, you will see a complete integration that needs to come in, where all the SMAC activities will be completely taken care. So that's more on data integrity, integration services, and the analytics will be embedded into that. That's the trend that we will see in the future, in the next decade also. Now, coming back to how this emerging technology trend is going to enable, means we spoke about cloud, right? Means the SMAC consists of cloud as one more key factor, artificial intelligence, the machine learning aspects. Now, if you see any of the products that we have within the financial services world, the focus is more on do this, do that, and let's see how the results is going to be. I want to wait and see like if any other bank or any other insurance company or any other capital markets company, let them try out. I wanted to see how the results are going to be, and then I will start implementing. That's the view of a specific parent company or maybe a bank as such will start thinking in this dynamics. Now that trend is going to change. That's what we will be seeing in the next decade or so, if not decade, maybe the next 5 years. The focus is on a complete digital enablement. There are some banks which exist as of today. They don't have any branches in the world, but still it is being operated completely on the internet. What I mean is completely on the cloud. Their core systems are in the cloud. Their engineering aspects is completely diverse. Since they do not have any brick and mortar service, or maybe a branch related services, they need to handle everything online itself. So we do have those kind of companies at this point in time. And as we go on from now for the next decade or so, we might see this is the trend across the globe that is going to come in. Now with the COVID impact or the coronavirus impact across the globe, the trend has become very rapid. Everything is becoming digital. Can you believe that? Means my bank, we have processed billions of pounds of loan enablement to customers without even seeing them. It happened completely online, starting from the loan request to processing the loan and enabling the loan servicing as such, right? Just 1 month, if I take the last June-July time frame, which is the peak of the coronavirus across the globe, we were able to process more than 10 billion pounds in June-July itself to have completely enabled through online itself. That's the view that we are going to see more from now on. There will not be any in-person setup. Everything is going to be online. To enable everything online, the technology stack, whatever we discussed now, maybe the artificial intelligence, how to ensure when the cyber security is being taken care, how to enable means the latest technology trends that are coming in can be integrated to ensure the customer experience is going to be the best, and how to ensure the data that has been been collated till now can enable themselves to see the forecast on what type of products to be offered to the customers. So those are the trends that we might see in a larger spectrum. On top of this, we might think about introducing new technology stack, new applications, new customer journeys. But still, how resilient is going to be my entire banking platform, or maybe my entire insurance platform, or my capital markets platform? So that is the kind of a focus that we might see. Yeah, we are enabling everyone with the millions of developers that we have on the platform. They're going to develop systems, they're going to deploy systems, but at the same time, is this system going to sustain? The latest example that I can quote here, the HDFC Bank scenario, right? They have been stopped in opening any new branches in India. It has been stopped for last a month or so, and the reason for that, their online systems is not resilient. The regulator in India, the RBI in India, they requested the bank, you fix all your base problems, then you come to us. We will approve for you to open a new branch in India, so that we ensure that your operations are seamless. So that's the trend that we might see. We do not want any of the systems to go down and have the customer impact. The impact is so bad that means the customer journeys will be broken across the globe. So that's where we might see the trend. Till now, what is the trend and what is the future of how the banking or the insurance companies or the capital markets companies are going to go? Does it give you a view, Naveen?
Absolutely, Sridhar, it does. Sridhar, we talked about the technologies that helped and accelerated the growth of financial services industry as a whole. And for any industry to ensure that it is embracing the technologies and the new culture, new blood, the industry also takes input and intake of diversified employees. So in that context, what kind of roles do we have in the financial services industry for fresh college grads, like someone who is having their chartered accountant specialty, MBA finance or B-commerce for that matter?
Yes, Sudhakar, yeah. This is a very interesting question, right? Means now with the many graduates coming in, means are they getting aligned to the industry expectations, especially in the financial services world? What type of roles that we have in place, how they can position themselves for these roles, right? Yeah, means very interesting question. Maybe let me take a step-by-step approach on this one. So maybe I will ensure my journey is getting covered in this one, means how I take different aspects on the career roles as such, right? I'll go with the banking experience. If I take a banking as a setup, right, means within banking, there are a lot of further divisions. Means it will be very, very complex integrated service that they provide. The first and foremost roles that anyone can think in a bank is definitely the front end officers, or maybe more front end, the front desk employees, which will be focused. If you take yourself, if you go to a bank, you might see there are many tellers sitting in the bank. They do the services based on whatever the customer is asking for. Maybe if you are going to deposit the money into your bank account, then the first and foremost thing that you go to a branch is you will ask what form to be filled, and you will ask person sitting in front of the system to help you, right? You will see there is a significant amount of those front end officers will be existence, and there is always a need, though there is a digital disruption that is happening where everything is going to be online, but still there are a lot of important activities which needs to be performed at the bank branches. If you take a lot of the commercial banking setup, maybe within the banking itself there are multiple divisions that I said, right? Maybe a retail or more of a customer like us having an account. There are industries which are having an account, and there are large investors who are having an account. If you take these three segments itself, right? The first and foremost, the regular customers like you and me can definitely do the operations online itself. But when it comes to the commercial segment of customers, you might see the similar trend in even on the capital market side or in the insurance side, in general on the financial side. The commercial segment side, you cannot do the large transactions by sitting completely online. You need to do front end, you need to interact with the bank, and you need to have a lot more integration that needs to be taken care of. Your transaction can be seamlessly entered. There should not be even a single mistake, otherwise your transaction will fail. So these are the front desk employees or the front desk officers who will enable you the bank transactions to be seamlessly processed. And that is the only reason you will see in the future, as we move on from now, the banking will be setting their branches primarily to service the commercial or more of the next segment means more of high wealth individuals as such. So the need of the front desk officers, there is a need of people who can understand the domain and help the customer's journey itself. There is a need of advanced technology roadmap stack, which I will come in a while. But most of the MBA finance graduates, most of the chartered accountant graduates, or most of the B-commerce graduates, right? If I take this broader category, I'll come to the engineering in a while. They will be more suitable to have a lot of this front desk activities to be taken over. Okay? They can also advance themselves by learning some of the core banking platforms. If I take take just on the banking world or maybe the insurance world itself, right? They can learn themselves on the core banking setup and then have themselves move inside the platform, inside the core banking systems, understand how things are aligned, and enable themselves on the career path. What I mean is, as the front desk employees, they can also focus on learning the integration stack and then go towards having their leadership advancement or maybe the role advancement in the specific activities itself. What are the key roles that you will be having there? Now we will be going into the specialization. So now, when we spoke about a front desk employees, right, they'll be servicing any type of a customer coming. Now, how they can look at inside the bank is like any banking system in the world is controlled by various regulations. So you can be a specialist on a specific regulation and advance yourself in managing the regulations for the bank itself. Meaning you will be a regulatory officer or you will be more of a cyber risk officer. Means you can also enable yourself to understand how whatever the applications that are being put in place, are they falling within the risk categorization of, meaning maybe the RBI setup in India or maybe the global regulator view as such. So that is one view of taking the career path. So there, a lot of the chartered accountants will sit on the table, try to understand the transactions by transaction, end up their balancing, and even map themselves to see like, is the bank really able to perform within the guidelines of regulation on a specific day. So that's where you will see advancement on the CAs coming into picture, the MBA graduates coming into picture. They can advance themselves with the financial domain and then move towards managing the entire bank risk itself. When I speak about the commerce graduates, right, the first and foremost activity that they can do is understand the domain in a much broader spectrum. When I say broader spectrum, I spoke about the customer journeys, right? There are some specific customer journeys which needs a complete end-to-end understanding of what the business happens in the background. Means I'll take one simple scenario, the import-export business. India as a major servicing segment in the world, you might see a lot of imports and exports generally happen. Means you take the COVID vaccines itself, right? When there is a need, one country might be requesting India to supply the medicine for so and so amount. Right. So when we do the supply the vaccines, how the transactions are getting settled in the background. But there is definitely one bank who will get involved in ensuring the transactions from the external country flows in, and also at the same time, they completely monitor on how the vaccine is getting delivered with the quality, with the conditions, what has been agreed, and even within the timelines that has been agreed. So if you see, there is a big import-export business activity that is coming in. I just taken a one small journey itself. These are the places the commerce graduates can bring in a lot more value. If they understand the domain in an extensive way, they can help the engineers to build the application as per what is required within the bank setup itself. I'm talking just on the banking example so that you can correlate yourself. The same happens in insurance. The same happens in the capital markets. So that's the kind of a journey that you might see this specific graduates that we spoke about. Now, let me take a minute on the engineering graduates. Okay, where they can fit themselves. The fresh graduates, right? Again, you have a lot of opportunities to get into the technology world, or you have a lot of opportunities to go into the servicing world. What I mean is, you can again become a front desk employees or front desk support staff, where you can enable the transactions, settle the transactions as such. What I mean to say is, if you take a single payment, how it is getting traversed, how it is being managed, whether the payment is having a proper track in the background, or whether the transaction is having any critical task that needs to be taken care. So all those monitoring aspects generally taken care by the support staff. Again, an engineer can play a major role there. Now, if I go back to the technology, which is very well known to everyone, it's more about developing the applications. So how to develop a specific application means how to develop a specific service that is required for the banking world to provide it to the customer. So that journey is more on learning technology, means any technology that you talk about. There is a need for that particular technology in the banking domain itself. It's just on the banking, be it on the legacy stack, be it on the advanced digital stack, be it on the cloud stack, or be it on anything that we speak in a technology which is getting adopted in the banking world very extensive. That is one definite track that you will see a lot of engineers can play a major role. All the industry segments that we have in place in India focused on their global captives or even the services segment. More, when I say services, the services industry that we have means like the companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, or when the Accenture, Capgemini, these kind of companies. For them, there is a need of building the applications for the banks like State Bank of India, HDFC Bank, or maybe Royal Bank. If you take any of these banks, there is a need of building the application. That's where the engineers can play a major role as such. So this is a very broad spectrum of how you can enable yourself in your career path. Maybe we can go into the details again in maybe a later session considering the timelines. These are the high-level career path that you can select when it comes to the financial services industry.
That's a great summary on overall career aspects or career opportunities that are available in the financial services industry.
Sure, Sudhakar. Yeah.
So, Sridhar, is it mandatory for someone to learn finance to become CEO?
Yeah, so maybe I'll take a different view on this. A CEO is a person who has to drive the company, right? And the person should have a complete knowledge of what is the business that a specific, maybe a industry is actually functioning. Right. So in my view, a CEO should definitely have a finance background. When I say it's not necessary that they should come with a finance background, they should have a basic understanding of what finances are, because they are the one who is going to drive what is the revenue that a specific company should establish and how it can march by itself into the world, beat the competition or stay all right in the competition as well. Right. So in that perspective, my view is a chief executive of a company should always have a basics of finances, how to manage, what to manage, and when to manage.
That's wonderful. One final question for this conversation, Sridhar.
Sure.
What will be your one piece of advice to those aspiring to make big in their careers?
Okay, I will go with my journey itself, right? I would call out some part of mine is definitely successful, some part of mine is a great learning, and some part of mine is, when there should have been a lot more things that should have been done. Right? Take that journey itself. The first and foremost is perseverance is one of the key attitude or activity that a person should be completely aligned with. What does it mean? It's like you should not be looking at what the result that you're going to achieve, but you keep on trying to see like you are ensuring your great efforts are put in place for a specific task. Maybe it could be a simple learning of a specific domain or learning a specific topic, or even to an extent, you can put some goal on how to achieve that. And you keep on continuously putting your efforts to ensure you're marching towards it. Don't worry about what is the result that is going to be. So that's a key perseverance that you need to have. In my career as well, that's the one factor which helped me to be in what position that I'm in. So there are a lot of learnings that we had, and I definitely feel those learnings are actually strengthening your career experience itself. It could be a positive learnings, and the learnings could be more towards the positive way of working. The learning could be more on what failures that you had come through, but it is a perseverance on a specific role aspiration that actually help anyone to move forward as well. That is the first and foremost. The second, I would feel you need to be completely flexible to learn anything that is coming in front of you. Meaning, don't be rigid. That means, this topic is going to be tough. I don't want to spend time on learning that. Definitely don't do that. That's why you are making yourself very rigid. Don't get into a situation where you're stopping yourself on the learning curve. So be flexible in learning everything that can come into your path. If there is a topic that you wanted to experience, the world now is more internet based. You research that, you will get insights. You can definitely learn a lot more things there. Flexibility to learn is my second aspect. Maybe the third one, I would say adapt to the environment. There is a lot of possibilities. That means the environment may not be very conducive to you, but still ensure that you understand the dynamics behind that. If you are not performing your task the way that is expected, the impact to the customer, the impact to the company, the impact to even the journey that customer is going to be in, that needs to be understood, and accordingly you need to function. So there are situations where the environment may not be as like your expectations, but still it has to be done, it has to be taken care. So that's the view that you need to think. Always think from the impact of any task that you're taking up. So, and adapt yourself to that specific environment. And the last, I would say it's more always be a knowledge savvy. So that's more, keep yourself always updated on anything that you are currently working on. You should know end to end of that. You should try to learn continuously. There are a lot of forums that where you can subscribe to and then get yourself enabled in the learning process. These are the 4 things, Naveen, just popping up in my mind, which I can highlight that how people can do march forward.
Sridhar, those 4 are going to be the foundational pillars for any individual to be successful, both personally and professionally. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking time for us. Great to talk to you about the financial services industry.
Thanks, Sudhakar. Thanks, Naveen. This is a great opportunity even for me. I can bring back my memories on how career journey had happened. I already started thinking how I spent 2 decades in this industry.
That's the beauty of the Guiding Voice podcast, and it makes everyone nostalgic. And thanks for joining. Pleasure is all ours.
Thanks, Naveen.
Dear listeners, to know more about our speaker and the content, refer to the show notes and visit or follow us on social media. We are available on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, Pinterest, and also on YouTube. Just search for The Guiding Voice and then follow, like, subscribe to us, and also share within your network. In addition, please feel free to email us at The Guiding Voice for You. That is TheGuidingVoice 4 as a digit, U as a letter at gmail.com, or WhatsApp us on India number 9494 587 187. That is India number 9494587187, and we will be happy to collaborate with you.
Hey Sudhakar, can you talk about the exciting opportunity of featuring our audience on this show?
Sure, Naveen. So guys, of late, we have been receiving a lot of career guidance related questions from our regular listeners through YouTube, LinkedIn comments, WhatsApp and email. And we are responding to them on one-on-one basis. Now, we are pleased to open up a new mode of interacting with you all while providing a chance to broadcast yourself. If you have any questions related to education, career guidance, or a specific IT function, just send your voice message through speakpipe.com/theguidingvoice. We will play your question in your own voice along with the answer either from us or our expert panel in our future episodes. Hope you will utilize this wonderful opportunity.
Alright, so it brings us to the trivia segment of today's episode. And folks, today's trivia is about CDs. In fact, most of you might have forgotten about CDs, and CD stands for compact disc. If you are a 90s kid, probably you would have seen them live, and it was very popular in the 90s and early 2000s. But the question is, do you know when the CDs were introduced to the world? You may start thinking, but let me tell you. Compact discs that stored sound, were introduced in the year 1982. And by the mid-1980s, new discs, which are called as CD-ROMs, like compact disc read-only memory, which could store pictures, computer programs, and anything that you would want to, was introduced. Interesting, isn't it? Thank you for listening. There is more in store, folks. Stay tuned. Take care. Be safe. Until next time, bye-bye. And we are signing off.